I think what makes me unique is going back in the early days to my recognition of my dyslexia. So I was 7 when I was diagnosed, and I really struggled when I was young, but I think I've come to believe my dyslexia is absolutely my superpower. So just to put it into context, 35% of entrepreneurs are dyslexic and 40% of self-made millionaires, which is amazing. So everyone from like Joe Malone to obviously Richard Branson, Steve Jobs was dyslexic, Anita Broderick. And I've come to see that there has to be a reason for that. And there are kind of core strengths you have as dyslexic. You have very high levels of creativity. There was actually an amazing Yale research which said dyslexics take in more data all the time. We have wider peripheral vision. And what that means is we're synthesizing that into creative thought and gut feeling. And so we're high levels of creativity, high levels of empathy, which tends to make us good leaders. They're not really sure why. They think maybe it's because we struggled when we were young, so we have real empathy for people who are also struggling. And we have high levels of resilience because we've managed to get through adversity when we're younger. So all of those combination of things make us good leaders, make us innovators, and I'm very proud to be dyslexic now, and it's definitely defined my career. It is definitely my father. And the reason being is I've kind of reflected on my upbringing a lot of late, and I've realized that my dad was this very unique man who never brought me up as a boy or a girl. He just brought me up as me, which was very rare at that time. And he kind of just encouraged me to be the best person I wanted to be. And right from an early age, he'd take me to his office, he'd hang out with me, he'd, teach me, get me excited about things. And now that I've kind of mentor other women in the industry, I've realized that, sometimes we have that awful self-doubt that creeps in, or the imposter syndrome. And I think I don't have as much of that, and that is very much down to my dad in those early years. And I think the other reason my father inspires me so much is my dad never went to university. He actually blagged his way onto a graduate trainee course at EMI Records. Because he was educated in Buenos Aires. So he put on his application form English BA, because English was the only exam he ever passed, and he was educated in Buenos Aires. And they let him onto the graduate trainee course, and fast forward like 15 years, my dad was head of EMI. And I guess what my dad made me realize is that you can achieve everything, and that we're also squandering a huge amount of amazing talent out there because they're not like my dad and didn't fib on an application form. So he's inspired me that, greatness can be achieved by everyone irrespective of background, and we should be encouraging more amazing people into the industry like my father. It's basically fundamentally important to our future. In the end, we all have unconscious bias. It's just human nature. It's been ingrained in us over centuries. I have bias. The DOTS community is 68% female, while LinkedIn's community is primarily male. That is absolutely a result of my bias as a woman founder and Reed's bias as a man founder. The problem that happens if we start having homogenous teams is we unconsciously build products for ourselves. And as we enter into an age of automation, that means we could be biasing products literally at a mass scale. So we have got to start building teams that reflect society as a whole, and not just homogenous teams that build products for themselves. And diversity isn't just about gender. It's very multifaceted. This is everything from ethnicity, sexuality, neurodiversity, which is dyslexia, autism, dyspraxia, ADHD, but also socioeconomic movement. So if we want to build products that are for everyone, we need teams that reflect the people we're building products for. How businesses can do that, it's very complex. I mean, there is no silver bullet. I guess where the DOTS comes in is we are very much a platform that helps. We've got now around 10,000 businesses that use us to hire talent. We help them hire diverse talent. But just getting them in the door isn't enough. You have to build environments where diverse talent can flourish, because you might just hire and then they might leave. And it's also about training, you know, the talent of the future as well. So it's at all levels of the pipeline. And I think the most important thing for every business is for there to be intent to change and intent to build diverse teams. And that's where it all starts. Unless the CEO is backing it, unless the leadership team is backing it, it's never going to happen. What I am excited about is companies that aren't building diverse teams, they're not getting a competitive advantage. There is now just endless research that diversity is good for creativity, it's good for innovation, it's good for the bottom line, and it's good for profitability. So I like to think, and I am an optimist, that the companies that don't embrace diversity are the ones that will fall by the wayside as the others propel past them.